Thank Uday Bhaskar and Murali from Pharmexcel for giving me the opportunity to interact with you all. What I will be doing is today, if we can put the full overview of biologics and biosimilar, what is the way forward for the industry, and for audience of this nature, I need not define what is a biological product. Anything that is made up of biology, the living systems, any type of molecule, either carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, or nucleic acids, all those, including the cells and tissues, will form biologics. And if you compare biologics with the pharma products, the small molecule drugs, generally low molecular weight, and generally these are high molecular weight, and the complexity increases in the characterization of the molecule. Our pharma industry has mastered how to characterize small molecules. But when you go to the large molecules such as proteins or nucleic acids, it requires a different skill set, and that is where the manpower requirement is also more in that. And ever since these products have come, biologics have entered, the share of the revenues of the biologics was 33% of the total healthcare market, and by 2020, the share of the biologics has gone to 64%, and today it may be much more. So slowly the industry, healthcare industry, is moving from some small molecules to large molecules, and that is where our pharma industry is also switching from pharma to biopharma industries. And if you just see the timelines of origin of biologics, in 1890 discovery of the serum therapy. The crude serum is taken from the infected patient and then injected, and from that stage to the commercial production of serum therapy in 1894 and the discovery of insulin. That is the first recombinant product that came into the market with the entry of Genentech, the discovery that has come from the university. And then the first successful recombinant DNA experiment using bacteriological genes, the first biotech drug to be approved by FDA in 1982, and the first artificial chromosome was synthesized in 1983, and the first humanized monoclonal antibodies. Ever since the monoclonal antibodies came into the market, and they are gaining momentum among the biologics, and they are replacing any other recombinant therapies also. And that's how, and finally, if you see, the more into cell-based therapies, which Krishna L.R. was also mentioning, that these cell-based therapies are catching up, and in fact the growth rate in cell-based therapies is 600% or even more also. And so this biologics market is expected to grow at 10% per annum. In all the cell and gene therapies, it is 33% to 69%. I was mentioning about 69% increase in the growth rate of cell and gene therapies, and the monoclonals also 9.2%, and bioengineered vaccines are also going up. So the monoclonal antibodies are going to be taking the most of the biologics market very soon. And the approval of the monoclonals, you also see by 2020 is going up in a linear scale. And so this approvals of monoclonal antibodies versus non-monoclonal antibodies, as you can see, the MABs have gained more approvals. And very recently, in the last May 2021, the 100th monoclonal antibody was approved by FDA. So that means, so this is the impact. And this monoclonal antibodies market is growing up, and there is an incremental growth. The $54.55 billion is the market, and it is further growing more so in the US and other countries. And so naturally this is the area that is going up. And what are the various classes? We started with small molecules, then the products which are increased antibodies, that's where the nucleic acid based therapies, and the live cells which I was mentioning in the thing. And so these drug modifications also, it is antibody drug conjugates. The small molecule taking to the site of action, specifically in cancer cells, if you can deliver the drug to the cancer cell, then most of the side effects associated with chemotherapy could be avoided, and that is where antibody drug conjugates have come and ADCs are evolving. And also, as the complexity of these molecules is increasing, the delivery of these products is also very important. The novel delivery has come up in terms of dermal patches, transdermal patches, or in terms of mucogenic, the coated molecules or lipid droplets or nanoparticles, and variety of novel ways of delivery of such molecules are coming up. And so these biologics, while they are very, as they are gaining momentum in the healthcare industry, but they are not affordable and they are very expensive, and making them available and accessible to more number of patients is a challenge, and that is where the biosimilars have played an important role. Similar to generics in case of the pharma, the biosimilars have come up. So availability, awareness and adoption of this one and access. So that is the major important, these are the steps for solving the equation of patient access. If you take the innovative products like biologics, they are not at all accessible or affordable for the most number of the patients in the developing and developed countries, underdeveloped countries. And within biologics and biosimilars, opportunity is enormous, as many of 19% of the biologics exposed to biosimilar competition already they're out of patent, and many 64% of the biologics are going out of patent. So that provides more opportunity for the thing. But if you see the revenues that are generated on biologics, that is innovative products, is more than 97%, and whatever the biosimilar market is only about 3%. Maybe that may grow up. So in order, if you want to get more into more share in the healthcare industry, you have to move to innovative products. And so biosimilar trials in all areas, oncology, immunology, hematology, and the metabolic disorders, musculoskeletal disorders, at different phases of the clinical trials, and several of them approved. Right in Hyderabad, many of the companies, pharma companies themselves have moved into biosimilars, and they're moving. And biosimilar approvals is also going up, and in that the monoclonal antibodies approval is much more than non-monoclonal antibodies based biologics or biosimilars. And biosimilars market is projected to go at the rate of 23%, and the market value will be $61 billion by 2027. So there is enormous potential in the biosimilars area. And the Indian biosimilar market, if you see, has reached the value of 633 million in the year 2020. Now it may be much more with more approvals from the thing. The market is further expected to grow at the rate of 11%. And what is the future of the biotech industries? And the next generation vaccine platforms, that is the one. What is the conventional, classical, and the next generation, the viral vector based, DNA based, RNA based, antigen presenting cells, so cell based therapies. All these are the next generation platforms for biologics, the thing. And COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the development of vaccine platforms distinct from the classical vaccine. You would not have gotten the mRNA vaccine or DNA vaccine approvals without the COVID-19 pandemic. Today they were approved on accelerated rate, and right in Hyderabad, the Indian Immunologicals in association with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, developed a DNA vaccine almost 15 years back. And our regulatory authorities were not geared up. They also had generics and biosimilar mentality in them, and they have not approved it. And otherwise, we would have been the first to launch DNA vaccine almost 10 years back. And Dr. Padmanabhan, who was the former director of Indian Institute of Science, who himself was associated with in several policy decisions in the government of India, he could not mobilize and then convince the government. So today, anyway, of course, Zydus Cadila is coming up with DNA vaccine. So for our Indian pharma or global pharma, innovation is the success factor. Either institution or companies founded on scientific discoveries or meaningful engineering innovation, they will be the leaders. Our industry should think of on those lines to become the global leaders and embrace the innovations that are coming up. A number of AI tools, machine learning tools, blockchain technologies, all of them are the ones which are driving the healthcare industry now. And it is time for the Indian industry also and global industry also to embrace such kind of emerging technologies and utilize them in the discovery part. In each and every sector, these innovations are playing an important role. If you just take artificial intelligence, they are involved directly in the target discovery, drug discovery, development, and post-approval, post-market surveillance also. And they are either in terms of literature, scientific data, patent data, and healthcare outcomes data. So most of the leading global biotech and pharma companies are using these technologies. And so where are we today? We are 12th position globally in terms of biotech products, 3rd position in Asia, largest vaccine manufacturer, as was mentioned, strong research foundation, a separate organization to spur innovation. The Department of Biotechnology has come up with BIRAC, which is promoting the startup innovation ecosystem. And right in Hyderabad, there are about 3,000 startup companies, and out of that, healthcare sector, there may be about more than 300 or such kind of. So 600 plus core biotech companies, 3,000 plus biotech startups, and biotech products available in the 200 plus biotech products, 100 plus biotech incubators in the all across the country. And all these are going to drive the healthcare industry, pharma. So India's bioeconomy crosses the $62 billion in 2020 and is expected to grow up to 150 billions by 24-25. And innovation is the key for Indian pharma or biopharma industry. What is the way forward? Promote academy industry interactions. Hyderabad is not only the capital for bulk drugs or IT or vaccines, but also is the capital for academic institutions. The leading academic institutions like University of Hyderabad, one among the top 5 universities, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, and Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, National Institute of Nutrition, National Institute of Animal Biotechnology, which has been recently approved for vaccine testing, right in Hyderabad, they're all here. You need not go to Kasauli or other places now. It is established right here. And as I was mentioning, the innovations are coming up from the startup companies. A large number of 3,000 plus startups are there. They are coming up. They need a hand to take them to the next level. And unless the big pharma or biotech companies come and take for further development. So innovations are the relay race. So globally, if you see the big pharma or biotech companies, they have taken the innovations from academic institutions and then developed further. The mRNA vaccine has come like that, and many others kind of. And as I was mentioning, the regulatory agencies should gear up for evolution of innovative products. It is not as though they need not wait for some other country to approve the innovative product and then do the regulatory approval. Why not we be in the forefront? So these are some of the things. and scope for Indian industry to attract the qualified human resources. Right now, Krishna Ella was mentioning that we are the largest exporter of manpower, and they are the ones leading in either IT, BT or Novartis is headed by Vas Narasimhan, right? Our own product. Like that, there are either Google, Microsoft, or many other companies are headed by, and they are present in most of these companies also at various levels. Our manpower, after skill, or reskill, or upskill, they are being used globally everywhere. Why not our industry tap these manpower and then utilize them by reskilling? And as I said, we have there are about 54 central universities and 20 plus IITs, and 7 are Indian Institute of Scientific Education and Research, NIPERS. Many of these are institutions, these are elite institutions compared to the other universities, not to talk of. And the manpower is coming out of these institutions. Maybe they require reskilling or upskilling, but they could be exploited for innovative discoveries. So, in conclusion, biologics are fast emerging as the major players in the healthcare industry over small molecules, and biosimilars paved the way for availability and affordability of more patients. Institutions, companies founded and scientific discoveries or meaningful engineering innovations, they will become the leaders. And this has to be adopted by our companies. The way forward to Indian biopharma industry is to graduate from biosimilars or generics to innovative products. Promote academy industry interactions and tap the innovations coming out of the startups. Regulatory agencies should gear up for approvals for innovative biopharmaceuticals. That is the one. Let me also introduce the Federation of Asian Biotech Associations, which we started in 2005 as a platform. Is a non-profit organization which provides a platform for developing, promoting biotechnology across the globe, specifically in Asia, promotes innovation and entrepreneurship across the thing. And 2020 by Asia, we started the FABA Academy, and this academy is mainly to bridge the gap between the academy and industry in skill development activities. As part of this, we have started a number of webinars and workshops, and in fact, so far they are online workshops, but very soon we are planning hands-on training once this COVID pandemic goes off. And so as part of this FABA Academy, we have been doing such kind of services to bridge the gap between academy and industry kind of thing. And University of Hyderabad, as I was mentioning, one among the top 5 universities, and we have the best schools in chemistry, biology, physics, and other sciences. And it was recently recognized as the Institute of Eminence. And we also have promoted entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have 3 incubation centers: Technology Business Incubation Center, TIDE, which promotes in the area of electronics and communications, and the Binest Incubation Center in the area of healthcare and biotechnology. And all these under Aspire, a Section 8 company, and there are about 50 plus startups right in the campus located in the thing. I take this opportunity to invite you to visit our incubation center and the campus at your thing. Thank you.